David Tepper rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
David Tepper
Apparently,
has
whatever the hell
continually rubbed people the wrong way.
Continuously. He is a habitual rubber of the wrong way. These Jacksonville Jaguars fans are either, I don't know what the fans said, but Hit Dogs must have hollered because they were getting shut out. Everybody's seen the video. He tossed the cup. It looked like more ice than drink, but whatever. He still tossed the cup in the direction of a fan. The NFL has fined him a whopping $300,000 for a man who I believe is worth over $20 billion.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is a joke. How big of a joke is it?
Yeah.
Because this is obviously for unacceptable conduct. Now, okay, continuing with my rants. You know what my least favorite word in the English language is? My least favorite word is unacceptable. Because 9 out of 10 times, the person is given another opportunity to do it again. It is absolutely acceptable. If you're gonna find a guy worth $20 million, the amount of money that he wipes his ass with, okay, it's like, okay, that's a real deterrent. Real deterrent. I mean, come on, like $300,000.
And look at that quote. I'm deeply passionate about this team and regret my behavior on Sunday. Okay, who did that? Was that AI? Who wrote that for you? What is that? That is so awful. Look, at least remember Bud Adams. So Bud Adams, former owner of the rest in power, former owner of the Tennessee Titans at the time, he got fined $250,000. This was 15 years ago. 15 years ago, $250,000. And he didn't have as much money as David Tepper. He got fined for throwing up, make me want to holler, throw up both my hands, or throw up both my fingers, in a victory. In a victory, he's celebrating, he's trolling, somebody's going back and forth with him, and he throws up his fingers and gets $250,000 fine. David Tepper, from the box, throws an object. I know, that seems like hyperbole, but that's what he did. He threw something. You never know what's going down when you're throwing something out of a box. So there's danger in that. Optics aside, why are you doing that? You're the owner of the team. You mean to tell me that's only worth $300,000? That's unacceptable to the NFL? A $300,000 fine for one of your leaders? For one of your owners? That's all you got to say? You don't have any type of, hey, you may want to sit this one out, Chief. Why don't you sit out a couple of games? We're going to take some money out of your pocket.
Something that's going to hurt him.
And we're going to remove you from the operation for a little bit so you can sit down and understand what the shield is all about. But if that's all you get on Sunday and throughout the postseason, look for other owners to throw their ice, throw their drinks, throw them hands. What happens if you do throw hands? What happens? $300,000 ain't nothing. It's worth it.
Most of them have more sense, but I think more than the fine, more than the act itself, it's a microcosm of who he is, because it's like, if he's going to act a fool in public like that, imagine what he does and says behind closed doors. Imagine what it's like working around this guy. Like, so him selling the team, and honestly, maybe there's a silver lining to this. Maybe there's a bright side to this, because maybe he's reached a boiling point. Maybe he's reached a breaking point to where he won't just throw a plastic cup, he will throw in the towel for the sake of the Carolina Panthers organization and that community. He will throw in the towel and say, you know what, it beat me, I can't get this thing figured out. Short of him selling the team, he needs an intervention. And I can't
guys
figure
like
out.
That, he never will.
Well,
Guys
but
never
here's
do
the
that.
thing.
They never do it.
But here's the thing. I can't figure out, based on what I know about him and from people I've talked to, I can't figure out if he's either, if he listens to the wrong advice, ignores the advice, or he solicits too much advice. Like, it sounds like he talks to any and everybody, and maybe he's not hearing what he needs to be hearing, or maybe not being told what he really needs to be told.
That's Jimmy Haslam disease right there. That's the same thing. That was Jimmy Haslam.
And I'm so glad you said Jimmy Haslam, because I was just in Cleveland marveling, and maybe it was like, eventually, you luck up and find the right people to run the organization, or maybe he evolved, or maybe it's a combination. Maybe he found who and what works for him. But look at the Browns now. Like, look at what they've done this season from a football operations standpoint, And so there's hope that he could it's hope that somebody could figure it out, that typically that people could figure it out. They can get better, that they're new, they're young, they learn. I don't know that this guy has what it takes to figure it out. I don't know that he is wired, to your point that you were making a second ago, I don't know that he is necessarily wired to reflect Gerard Mayo style and say,
Go to reflect.
I'm
Think
the
about
problem.
my blind spots.
Right, I'm the problem. I'm the common denominator. No matter how many coaches I go through, no matter how many GMs I go through, no matter how many drinks that I end up throwing at fans I go through, I am the problem. So for me, the $300,000 is a joke because it's not even a slap on the wrist for somebody worth $20 billion. It doesn't jive with the idea of owners being held to a higher standard. That's a joke. We all know it's a joke. That's the obvious. The bigger joke is what this franchise is under David Tepper's stewardship. That's the bigger joke. And I don't know what the solve is there. Because it's like, cause what's next? Because this might be the first time he throws a drink at somebody. But what's he do when the cameras aren't rolling? What's next? How's he moving behind the scenes? Like, talk about good for the game, good for the league, a bad look. This dude's a bad look and not good for the game.
Oh, well, but I'd say it's still an equal joke. the bigger joke is not a bigger joke.
Well, the reason I say it's bigger is because it's ongoing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was one act. He threw the drink at a fan. He's still the owner of the Panthers, unfortunately. That's why I say it's the even bigger joke.
Yeah, but I look at a league that lets it go. Like that doesn't sit well with me. So David Tepper, not only did he throw the drink, and what he also did in public, I just want to just give you briefly just a couple things that stand out to us. So he threw the drink. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget, didn't show up for his head coach's last game last year. Interim coach Steve Wilkes didn't show up for his last game. Didn't say thank you or anything. You actually made the season kind of relevant. It was going down. It was going way off the rails, and you rescued it. But I can't even show up and say thank you to you. When he fired Frank Reich, remember this? He fired Frank Reich, and he has a press conference, and Scott Fowler of the Charlotte Observer, a columnist who's been very critical of him, sat up front, raised his hand.
That's right.
And had his hand ignored because he's so thin-skinned. He's been surrounded by many people who probably do have backbone, but they are not allowed to express themselves because look, they got bills. We all got bills to pay. I get it. But the league, this is a league that spent millions and millions of dollars on legal fees and air pressure in footballs. I mean, this is a league that has gone above and beyond to, lock out its players over, a paragraph or two in the previous collective bargaining agreement. Like all these things. This is a league that says all these things, high-minded things about player conduct and what's good for the game. Kareem Jackson doing his job on the field and maybe doing his job a little too passionately. But was suspended. Multiple times this year because the NFL says there's a way that we do things. But then when it comes to an owner, real life, throwing something at a fan, you get $300,000 fine.
It's always a double standard.
The perspective, it's beyond a double standard. It's just like you ain't thinking right. Yeah. You're wrong-headed. You wasn't raised right. Okay? What's wrong with you? You're not looking at this with a clear head and clear eyes.
So okay, like if you're talking about suspension, that's suspension. We talked about that. You know, draft
least a couple
capital. Although
games.
that's the last thing the Panthers need. Okay, I'm about to say, like, how much could you find somebody with $20 billion that they would feel it? Like, what's that fine look like?
The maximum.
Like,
okay.
Well, yeah,
the maximum.
I mean, but even
you know this.
The maximum is in the millions, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's single-digit millions is the maximum. I'm just marveling at $20 billion. I can't even wrap my mind around what it means to be worth $20 million.
Yeah,
20 billion,
you know,
I beg your pardon.
And not because you are a billionaire. Well, you might be. I don't know. I can't count your money for you, but you've been around enough people with a lot of money to know that I would say I'm not going to paint with a broad brush, but the people that I've been around, people I've covered in sports, players, coaches, owners who got a bunch of money, they're very protective of the money, even if they got it. Like if you say, hey, give me $1,000, they'd be like, what? Why? Even though they're rich.
They didn't get rich giving money away. But again.
So you're not really hurting him. You're not taking away from the pile.
But Michael, this ain't Umfufu taking half from Eddie. Okay, that's not what this is. That's not what this is. This is like half. This to me and you is $5. Like let me hold $5. That's $5. This is $5 to me and you. All right, that's what this is. This is literally nothing. He probably won't even notice. Okay. You talk about everything coming across Bill Belichick's desk. He will not be looking at his monthly budget saying, "Dear, you're gonna have to cut back on no. This is nothing.
Where's this 300,000?
Won't even get his attention.
What's this? What's all this?
What's
all this?
But what's worse is I don't know if he has any shame. I don't even know if he's embarrassed by it. And that's what I mean by the bigger joke. It's like it's emblematic of who he is. And he's still here. And it is acceptable because he's still here.
And Michael, I'll just say, let me just say, last thing on Tepper. And owners like him. Look, unfortunately, you said yesterday everybody who got the title doesn't necessarily deserve it. And just because you got the job doesn't mean you're good at it. And so with owners, we lost Daniel Snyder as an owner. David Tepper kind of moves into the Snyder slot. Every league has that guy.
Got to have one.
And so every league has him. So he's Snyder. That's who he's going to be. And he'll probably be around for a generation. And then when he finally gets out of the way, Carolina can have some success. But Carolina, I'm sorry to tell you, you'll never win with that guy. I'm sorry. I don't care who you name as your next head coach. It's not going to get better with David Tepper. Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.